Hi class, this is Miss Anderson here. This is the second half of 1.1 notes, so it's 1.1b, and we're going to finish off the vocabulary that we left off with. And so first thing on our vocab list is a plane. A definition is a two-dimensional flat surface that extends indefinitely in all directions. And we have to have at least 3 points that make a plane, and we use those 3 points to help us label it. Or we could say, so for example, you could say this is called plane ABC using those 3 points. Or you can see this little M in the corner here. That is the capital letter, like a line. Remember we did like line L, we used lowercase letters. In a plane you use capital letters. So you could say, use that M to describe this plane, plane M. And then similar to when we did collinear, all the points were on the line. Coplanar means that they are all on the same plane. Coplanar. So we could say that A, B, and C points A, B, and C all lie on this plane. So they are called coplanar. And I think that the best example, or the thing you're most familiar with, is our coordinate plane. So you'll see that X, Y coordinate plane. And remember, you graph points on this, and it goes on forever in both directions. That's an example of two-dimensional space that's a plane, and that's called the coordinate plane because it has all those coordinate points on it, because it has an XY location, like this is a coordinate XY. So that's one example of a plane that you probably deal with most common. A two-dimensional flat surface extends indefinitely. Now if you had two or more of those planes that did not intersect, they would be called parallel planes. Just like parallel lines do not intersect. So if you look at this shape and you think of the planes as that top and bottom pieces, it would be like this top and this bottom. If you thought of all the sides as planes, the top and bottom here, plane, we could name it with the points, so like plane ABC or BCD, and plane EFG are parallel because they will never cross. Just like parallel lines do not intersect. The one thing that we maybe learn or add to our definition of parallel lines is the notation. So when we write two lines are parallel, we use this symbol. So we would say like these are lines P and Q. So we would say that line P is parallel to line Q, and this symbol right here, like the double straight bar, is what we use to represent the word parallel instead of writing it out every time. And then also, if you see in a diagram, if lines are parallel, you will see this symbol on the line like this, and that lets you know that the lines are parallel. So those little arrow kind of things go in the same direction show that the lines are parallel. Oh, it's got stuck. Now, perpendicular are lines that cross and they form a 90-degree angle, like line AB, and line is perpendicular. So, and the symbol for that is kind of similar to parallel but opposite. So we would say that line AB is perpendicular to line XY, which means that they form this 90-degree angle, that perfect corner. And then this is the symbol that we use for that. Perpendicular versus parallel. And then this is probably a new one that you're not familiar with, and it's called skew lines. And that's if the lines do not intersect and they are not coplanar. So if you look at the lines on like this box, notice that this one is in the back here, and then the one out in front wouldn't intersect. So they wouldn't be on the same plane, and they would not intersect. So they would be called skew lines, skew. And that's kind of a new one. So do not intersect and are not coplanar. Here are some more important intersections and definitions. The intersection of a plane and a line is a point. So I think about this, if I was to take my piece of paper and stick my pencil through it, it would like straight through or even sideways, it would go through one time. So the line D intersects at point P. The solid line means that that part of the line is above the plane. And we use the dashed part to show that that part is below. And the line goes through the plane at point A. That's the intersection point. Now, if you intersect two planes, that is going to form a straight line, because what we remember about planes is that they go on infinitely in both directions. And so if we were to intersect two of the planes, they would intersect at all of these points, and it would go on infinitely in both directions. And so we would say that plane S and plane R intersect at line AB, because this was point A and point B. I kind of covered it up a little bit, but there's A and there's B. So let's use the diagram to answer a few of the questions. Name the plane shown in the figure. So to name the plane, we will use 3 points that are on the plane. So you can use any 3 points on the plane, or you can use this capital letter F. So because we have that capital letter F, we could call that plane F. Or you could say plane WRS. So 3 of the points. What lines are contained on the plane shown? We have 3 lines. You could use the little letters N, M, and L. So lines M, N, and L. Or you could label the lines using the points. For example, you could say T, U, and then you do the line symbol above it, which goes in both directions. Line P or R, Q. That's this line right here. And then this line would be PS. And with the line symbol above it. What is the intersection of lines M and N? So it's my purple line and my pink line intersect at point R. I'm going to write that as point R. What is another name for line M? I kind of covered that up here. Line M would be either RQ, or you could do QR because it goes in both directions. It doesn't matter which one you write first. Use the diagram to name all the points that are coplanar with the given points. So let's take a look at where these points are. We got P, Q, and R, and so that makes this front plane right here. And so S would be the point that's coplanar with that one. And then we have P, W, X, and that's the side over here. So Q would be coplanar with that one. So coplanar is on the same plane, that flat surface. Using the same diagram, name 2 parallel lines. So we could name lots of options for parallel lines. I'm going to go with these 2. If I do line RS, parallel would be YZ, so they don't intersect. So line RS, got my line symbol, and line YZ, line symbol. Now 2 skew lines would be lines that don't intersect and are not on the same plane. So RS and YZ were both on this plane in the back here. So I would have to pick, I could do RS still, but then a line that's not going to intersect and isn't on the same plane, we could do this one back here as XY, or you could do this one down here, YZ, because I did the front one here as my first line. So any of those back ones. Notice that dashed line means it's in the back. So I would say, and let's go with XY. So a couple of different answers for that, but the skew lines are not on the same plane and do not intersect. Even though it kind of looks like they're intersecting here, we'd have to remember this is a three-dimensional shape. Use this diagram now and a line that contains point T and point P. So T and P are both on line G. Right there. Name a line that intersects the plane containing Q, N, and P, and the line that intersects the plane, which means it goes through it, is line J. So this line right here, notice it's dashed, that means it's in the under the plane, the second half of it. Name the plane that contains TN and RQ. So TN is this line here, TN, and then RQ is this line right here. So the plane, we would use the capital letter in the corner to name that. So it'd be called plane S. Or you can label it using those points, plane TNQ, with 3 points to name a plane. The intersection of line J and plane S would be point T. So in the last example, it was asking, where does this line intersect this line here, intersect on this plane? And the line goes through right here at point T. How many planes are shown in the figure? So take a look at that figure for a second. We'll see if we can see how many planes we can recognize. And I think there are, let's count them. So we got the bottom one, we had 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there are 6 planes in that picture. Name 3 collinear points. So collinear are any of the points that are on the same line. And you could pick any 3, like S, X, and M. They're all on the same plane, or on the same plane. They're on the bottom there. Points S, X, and M, sorry. They were supposed to be on the same plane. So they're all on that bottom plane. I'm looking at either this one here or this one here. They're also on. What is the intersection of Q, P, N? So that would be this plane and plane A. And QPN intersects plane A right here, and that's 2 planes intersect in a line, and so that would be line RN. So that's right here. This plane would intersect right here at line RN. And so we'd want to make sure to have the line notation over those 2. Name a pair of what appears to be parallel lines. So lines that appear to be parallel to me would be like, let's see, TQ and WP. How about those 2 lines, these 2? Or you could have done TS and QR. I'm going to stick to my first choices. So lines TQ and I can't see that letter anymore. Q and WP. Lots of choices for parallel lines. Parallel lines will not intersect. And let's see. Maybe pick two skew lines. Two skew lines would be like line MN and so line MN and then maybe QR. So in the back won't intersect. R, N, R, S, and W coplanar. So let's look at those points. We got N, R, S, and W. They are not coplanar because R, S, and N all lie on this bottom plane, but W is on the upper plane. So no, they are not. N, R, and W lie on the same plane, but point W lies on a different one, different plane. AK and CJ intersect at point M on plane T. Okay, so let's draw a plane T to start. I'm going to label that with a capital letter in the corner. And then we have line AK, so we'll go AK. And then we have line CG and they intersect at point M. So we got line CG, and then where they intersect right here would be point M. And they're on plane T, so we use that capital T to start. Then US and TU line on plane M. So again, I would start by drawing my plane M. And then I would say US. Oh, notice it's a ray because it only has one side of the line. So it has an end point at U and it goes towards point S. And then we have TU on plane M. So TU means it goes through point U. So we'll draw that this way. And then T would be up here. So that would be an example of that one. Write a description for the following diagram. We could say that it's plane N. We could say that line AE intersects plane N at point B. We could say that line CB intersects line CD, etc. So there's lots of things we could talk about there. Okay, that'll be it for that section. Again, lots of just vocab and drawings, and just have to get used to that. Thanks for watching. Oh,